Ciao, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we are doing a Mediterranean diet meal prep recipe video, and it is January. It is the new year. Happy 2023 if you're watching this right when I come out with it. The Mediterranean diet is a part of the Mediterranean lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not your typical what you see in the January of insane and extreme, and you deprive yourself and you go just, like I said, extreme. It's the very opposite of that. It's a lifestyle. It's gradual. It's in moderation. Everything's included. You can switch things around and mold and shape the Mediterranean diet and the lifestyle to fit your preferences, the way you live, all of those things. So I just wanted to start off this video by saying, even though it is the diet month, especially here in America where I am based out of, it is very extreme, the diet culture. I don't participate in any of that. I just love riding this wave of the Mediterranean diet becoming so popular in January as people search out different diets. I just want to be able to participate in this wave during January and show you guys the most amazing thing that is the Mediterranean diet, which is a part of a lifestyle. It doesn't just come with eating and being done. It's much more than that. But I share a lot of that on my other videos. But right now we're just gonna talk about the recipes today, specifically in this video. And you'll see that these recipes are healthy in the way that the Mediterranean diet is healthy. So you're getting an abundant amount of nutrients, variety, pushing you to get out of your comfort zone. They're quick and simple, but at the same time, some things are a little bit more time consuming because sometimes it's good to spend some extra time in the kitchen. That's why the Mediterranean diet is so good, is because you're supposed to be in the kitchen making these meals for yourself and learning how to, you know, cook for yourself. That's a huge part of the Mediterranean diet, is feeling empowered when you're in the kitchen and enjoying being in the kitchen. And I do meal prep a little bit differently, where I'm not telling you to make 3 things and bulk them for the whole entire week. I like to think of meal prep as just sauces or ways of using ingredients to spice up my dishes, or things I can keep in the fridge for 2 or 3 days to make different variations of meals, or just things that just are delicious that last a few days. That's kind of what I think of when it comes to meal prep. Things that could be a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner, a dish that could be any of those, or even a snack. I don't ever think of like Tupperware and portioning out and things like that. I don't count calories or macros or any of that. I just kind of go by how I feel and make sure that I'm getting in the right nutrients that I need, which is a variety of fruits and vegetables, a variety of different grains, wholesome, whole grain products, really unprocessed as possible, high quality as possible, and of course, really good sources of protein and dairy and fats. So today, the 3 Mediterranean diet kind of recipes that have so many recipes within them, I'm making, honestly, pretty much traditional spanakopita. If you know my channel well, you know I like to take a traditional dish and mix it up all the different Caroline ways, but I honestly wanted to keep this original because it's so delicious. But I'm showing you how to make a spanakopita in a really big cast iron skillet. That way you don't have to do the time-consuming little tiny triangles, which you can do. It makes it really easy to grab and go, especially if you're trying to toast up a quick little breakfast or a lunch or a snack. But this will be a nice big dish of spanakopita, and it's something so easy to reheat. It's so satisfying, packed with protein. A whole pound of spinach goes into spanakopita, so you're getting so much nutrients. Great way to eat your greens and enjoy eating your greens, and you don't even have to use spinach. There's a variety of different greens you could use. Recipe number 2 will be a delicious lemon and herb fish cake. I cannot express how important fish is on the Mediterranean diet. It is so good for us. We need it, and we need a variety of different fishes. I see the same 3 fishes in recipes: salmon, a whitefish, and maybe shrimp. And tuna. Let's go there. I just see those over and over again, and there's so many different fishes out there, and not to mention canned fish and how sustainable it is, and it can be delicious. And I know it sounds gross off the bat, but when you zhuzh it up and add all this flavor and all these fresh, bright things and cook it a different way, you won't even know you're eating canned sardines. And then the last one is of course, I'm veggie queen. I gotta share something super delicious to make sure I'm showing you guys how delicious veggies can be. So I'm making kind of an inspired, kind of Moroccan carrot salad. Salads don't have to be green and leafy. Salads can just be a fresh way to eat vegetables with a dressing and some things mixed in. So instead of leafy greens, you have these beautiful, crunchy, sweet-shaped carrots with a delicious pomegranate molasses spiced tahini dressing, some chewy, sweet, tart cherries, some microgreens, and then crispy bulgur. So that's the gist. I'm so excited to get started cooking for the first Mediterranean diet meal prep video of 2023. So let's start off with recipe number 1. The spanakopita, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. We're gonna start off by preheating in the oven to 350 degrees. I'm gonna melt some of my favorite butter, which is Kerrygold Irish butter. European butter is a little bit different than American butter, but in the recipe like this, it doesn't really matter the difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by melting maybe 1/4 cup, and we'll see if we need more. Phyllo dough is a beautiful dough. It's really not that hard to work with, even though it does break and it's so thin. The ways that phyllo is used, it's okay if it gets a little bit breaky. It's really hard to mess it up is what I'm trying to say. Unless I can't get the phyllo dough open, then we just don't have a recipe. It just is so thin that it dries out so quickly. This, I think, is 18 sheets of phyllo. It's the 1 pound package. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this damp paper towel. I just took a towel, drenched it in water, squeezed it all out because we just don't want it to dry out as we work and create this quick and easy spanakopita, because I'm not doing it traditional and I'm definitely not doing the little tiny triangles. I just thought we'd do something more easy today. When it comes to meal prep, I love like quiches and tarts. I love crostadas, like I love a pastry of some sorts, like I do, and it's really nice to have it on hand. And so this is kind of reinventing that kind of concept with you have your crusty, delicious, buttery dough, and then you have this protein-packed and veggie-packed filling. So it's really good for you. And I think people see the word butter and they're like, that can't be a healthy recipe, and they freak out. And they see white flour and they think that can't be healthy, but it's like your body needs fats and your body needs bread. And so like if we just take really high quality and moderation of it, it's so healthy, because if you eat this, you feel satiated. If you eat something that's like bird food and you get no fun nutrients out of it, then your body still is craving more and more and more. That's just my little speech on, yes, I'm about to coat this in butter and it's still a healthy recipe. We just can't keep demonizing butter and white flour and dairy and all of that. So I have a cast iron skillet here, and I'm gonna start by brushing it pretty generously with this butter. If you wanted to, you could use half butter, half olive oil. I wanna coat like all surfaces so nothing sticks and we can easily pull this out when it's done. And then, yes, this is a little time consuming, but delicious food can be a few steps. It doesn't have to be just pop it in the microwave and call it a day. So I'm gonna take just 1 sheet of phyllo dough on top here of the skillet. It's okay, like I said, if it rips or it breaks a little bit, that's totally fine. We're gonna put a few layers so it won't even matter. So this is kind of what it looks like. A little bit of overhang is perfect because it'll make a really pretty outside. And then I'm gonna go in with, you know the deal, a little bit more butter. Make sure that it's really touching the edges of the cast iron. Perfect. And so while I do this, I'm gonna talk about the filling. It's a pound of spinach, which is incredible because you're getting so much spinach, and that is the beauty of wilting greens. You'll see a lot of wilted greens in the fall and winter served at like restaurants and in the Mediterranean. So when I lay the second piece in, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. And I'm gonna start like every piece, if this makes any sense, I'm kind of gonna lay it a little bit off. So we're getting kind of like a round circle of layered pieces, if that makes any sense. So this one, I'm doing kind of the opposite way and just gonna keep repeating it with, I think about 8 sheets would be good. With this delicious filling, it starts off with beautiful liquid gold, my favorite thing in the world, olive oil. A lot of it because we really wanna crisp up the shallots. I think it adds delicious depth of flavor to get those shallots nice and crispy in that olive oil. You could use leeks. Leeks are in season. That would be a really fun oniony flavor. You could use just regular white or yellow onion or red onion, whatever onion you kind of want to use up maybe. And then right before you think that those onions are done cooking, go ahead and add in your garlic, and that way you don't burn it and pull it off the heat. And then you transfer that liquid gold infused onion and garlic mixture into a bowl to cool. And with that same pan, go ahead and drop in, probably in 2 to 3 sections, your pound of spinach. You don't even need any extra olive oil. It wilts on its own, especially with my caraway pans, which are non-stick. You wilt it to literally nothing. You could use a lot of different greens. There's so many variations. I'll make sure to leave all the variations variations on my website in the recipe, which you can find all of these recipes on my website, by the way. Wilt down the greens, and then you set that in a separate bowl and let those cool, because you need to squeeze the water like crazy out of that spinach, because it'll just make a super soggy, not crispy phyllo mess if you don't. Here's where I'm gonna tell you a wonderful secret that you're gonna love me for. Yeah, just buy frozen spinach. Totally can do that. Save you some time. And the beautiful thing about frozen vegetables, they're totally awesome because they're frozen at the peak of their nutritional level. I'm not even doing what I told you to do, which was leave these damp. Honestly, we work so quickly, you don't even have to put the damp paper towel on it. That would be if you're like doing those little triangles at a time and this is sitting here for a little bit, that's when you'd want those damp paper towels. The mixture also needs eggs to stay put together, and then you're also getting a great amount of protein from those eggs, and then you're getting protein from the feta. And this is just a beautiful example of a high protein and vegetarian dish, because I want to cater to everyone. So I'm trying to show you as many gluten-free recipes, vegetarian recipes, dairy-free recipes. This is for my vegetarians. I think there probably is a way to find phyllo online that is gluten-free. It has to exist by now. Like I'm telling you, there's really a lot of options, especially if you want to order it online. There are lots of dairy-free fetas out there. So there is a way to make this gluten-free and dairy-free. If you didn't want to use butter and you're dairy-free, you can use olive oil and it would work. But there's also vegan butter too. Like there are so many options out there. To the mixture of the olive oil, the shallots, and the garlic, I added those eggs, that delicious, briny, salty perfection of feta. I love feta. Make sure to get it imported so you can really taste the high quality goodness, and make sure to crumble it yourself. Pre-crumbled feta, just like pre-crumbled Parmesan or pre-grated Parmesan, just doesn't taste as good. It takes 2 seconds to crumble it yourself. Just get the block. It tastes so much better. By the way, we've been going at it. Like you can see, it looks like it's wearing a little skirt. That's adorable. The mixture, we have that feta, parmigiano. There is a really traditional Greek cheese that is salty and grateable that is used in spanakopita, but I know it's not as easy to find, so I didn't want to include it. And I'm trying to be really cautious, and please call me out if you notice that I don't give you enough suggestions of what you're able to find, because I really love to use fun ingredients. I do, but I know these fun ingredients are not available to everybody. Oh, and herbs, because herbs are delicious in everything, and I always find a way to include an herb in almost every single one of my recipes. They're amazing and they add so much flavor and nutrients and all of that. So a lot of mint and parsley went into this. I don't like dill. I don't. Dill's traditional. If you like dill, throw dill in. I'm just not a dill fan. Okay, the last sheet is going on unbuttered. Roll this back up and make some more baklava, because I made baklava recently and it was incredible. It was delicious. I think baklava is so underrated. And all those nuts and the spices and the so good. And now it's gonna be so easy. I'm just gonna take the prepped feta, spinach, eggy, salty, herby, delicious mixture right into the phyllo dough. It smells so delicious. Oh my God, pack it in, baby. So cheesy, so much spinach. So you're getting protein, all this flavor. Like I'm telling you, a pound of spinach fits into this entire thing. So like if you eat a serving of this, it's an equivalent to basically a salad. I'm not lying to you. Oh, did I talk about lemon zest? As I literally see the beautiful lemon zest running through this. There's also a lot of lemon in this because I think lemon goes so well, and you really want something nice and bright with all this cooked spinach and with the briny, salty feta. You really want something fresh, like those herbs and that lemon. I prepped this mixture the day before, so if you feel like this is too many steps, but you really, really want to make it, you can prep this entire spinach feta mixture beforehand. You just have it ready to go for when you are ready to make it. Maybe you can make it on a Sunday, you're lazy, it's the winter time, we have a little bit of extra time on the weekends. Take the skirt of the phyllo on every side and kind of just make a little like kind of just get it all crumpled on the edges. That's the word I was thinking of. And just do a light little brushing of butter. And it's okay if it gets a little bit breaky now that it's been out for so long. It might break more easily when you go in with the butter, and it makes a really pretty edge. So the other way that you could do this, if you didn't want to use melted butter, that's looked down upon, but it exists. If you wanted to use an avocado oil spray or an olive oil spray, to just spray each one, it is another hack if you have those sprays around. And last but not least, in true Italian Carolina style, a little sprinkle of Parmesan on top. Not traditional, but like if it could be golden brown on top, why resist the urge to make it extra cheesy, extra Parmesan-y, extra golden brown. Parmesan is the cheese highest with protein, so we love Parmesan. Into the oven it goes till it's golden brown and flaky. The spanakopita has cooled. It looks so good. I'm going to find the perfect piece to cut. Do you hear that crispy crunch? Oh my gosh, give me all the phyllo layers. Perfection. I'm literally like just holding it in my hand. I cannot express how excited I am to try the spanakopita because the last time I had it, it was in college. I was in a Greek class and I had to interview this super sweet Greek lady who was part of the Greek community here in my city for a paper that I was writing. She said, come to my house, let's meet up. And she invited me in to her beautiful home and she had a beautiful plate of all these Greek pastries, one of them being spanakopita. And it was one of the best things I've ever had in my life. It was homemade, of course. And so I haven't had it since and I'm excited. For being so healthy, it's utterly decadent. Like there's so much spinach, but it tastes so good because it's so salty and cheesy, and the beautiful flavor of the shallots and the garlic in there, the lemon and the mint and the parsley, you don't really taste. You just taste fresh, delicious, flavorful. That was a terrible bite. Phyllo was everywhere. Wow. Let me finish this plate. I have to. It's delicious. And then we can move on to recipe number 2. So we're moving on to recipe number 2. Stay with me, don't leave. Okay, yes, I'm using wild sardines packed in extra virgin olive oil, and they're lightly smoked because smoky, delicious goodness. If you don't like sardines, if that freaks you out, that's totally fine. Leftover cooked salmon, leftover any cooked fish that you have that you want to use up, canned tuna, canned salmon, whatever. Like, I'm just trying to get you guys to try a little bit of variety. And like, I promise it's gonna be like fish for sure, but it's not gonna be overly fishy. Sardines are so good for us. And I'm gonna be very gentle opening this because I definitely don't want to get anything on me. And then just get that all in there. They even put like a little bit of lemon. Yum. Open up one more pack. And then we're gonna blend it with so many other ingredients, you won't even remember you're eating sardines. To the sardines, to add a little bit more oomph, like to this dish, I'm going in with a can of drained and rinsed chickpeas. Ceci, also known as garbanzo beans. And I'm gonna go ahead and start smashing away. Use kind of like the side of the bowl, kind of mash it up. You can use white cannellini beans, you could use navy beans, whatever kind of white bean you'd like to smash into this and that you have on hand. It's a great way to add more protein. And you could also do, if you don't have beans, you could do a cooked potato. So some white potato or even sweet potato would actually be really good in this too, something sweet to complement all the saltiness. 2 medium-sized garlic cloves. So I'm gonna crush them up, take off the peel. Super handy garlic press. I just love these so much for mincing when I want some teeny tiny garlic, because I always prefer using fresh garlic over powdered. You could use powdered garlic if you wanted to. 2 garlic cloves, and then I just like to scrape off with a knife. Perfect. I'm going in with the zest of entire lemon. You could honestly do 2. You wanna make these to their title, lemony and herby, and really bring so much freshness to the canned beans, the canned fish, a lot of zingy, a lot of bright. This is where our aromatics are so important in a dish like this. Garlic, onions, citrus, herbs, spices. And then I'm gonna go in with the juice of 1/2 because I wanted to get it out of my fridge. You don't have to use this extra half. And I juice it down into my hand, and so I can catch the seeds, because sometimes I just want to do it the Nonna method. That's what I like to call it. The method of just using your strength and squeezing it in and getting your hands dirty. I have a good amount of parsley here and a good amount of mint. I'm going to do a big chop. If you have some dill would be great. Again, I don't like dill. Chives. I used up all my chives for the aioli, which is what I'm using to dip this beautiful croquette, fish cake, whatever you want to call it. It's not a croquette because it's not deep fried. Whatever I can call it to make it sound a lot more appetizing than a fish cake. If you wanted to do scallions, that would be delicious. Some tarragon, some winter herbs. You could do some sage and rosemary if you got abundant amount of winter herbs. some fresh thyme, fresh oregano would be good. Anything you got in the medley at all. Next on the agenda is the breadcrumbs. And because I promised a gluten-free recipe, I'm using almond meal, almond flour. The almond meal is gonna add a nuttiness, depth of flavor, breading aspect to keep these together and so they don't fall apart. This will also just really help keep the whole mixture together when we go to fry it on the pan. So 1 beaten egg, salt and a little pepper. We don't need a lot of salt. So we have this super creamy mixture and it's nice and smooth, kind of like it's really came together, nice like a batter. Spoon it into a pan with some olive oil, flatten it down into like a shape of a cake or a patty with the back of the spoon and let it fry for 2 or 3 minutes on each side until they get nice and crispy and cooked all the way through. And then I have a beautiful aioli to go with them that I made. Aiolis are so simple. Could you use mayo? You definitely could. But an aioli is just 2 egg yolks and oil. So it's just this really thick, fatty, creamy, delicious goodness, and you just need a little bit and it goes a long way with your dish and it adds so much flavor and moisture and just goodness. Just take the 2 yolks, drizzle ever so slowly some olive oil. If you're using all olive oil for this recipe, I will say it's very a strong flavor of olive oil, but I love olive oil. So the olive oil, you just stream it in and it gets nice and thick, and then I added some chives for an oniony flavor. So the lemon chive, lemon herb aioli, you could dress it up in so many ways. Add some roasted garlic to it. You could add some, cooked caramelized onions to it. Add different types of herbs if you wanted to. And it's like such a great spread on any sandwiches, any toast. You made it yourself. If you don't want to use an aioli, you could also use like a Greek yogurt sauce. I would really recommend that for this kind of dish. Knowing how to make sauces is so important to flavoring your meals. Like if you can make some dressings and some sauces and have them on hand for 2 or 3 weeks in the fridge, or a month or so, or 2 months or so in the freezer, like cooking becomes so easy because it's assembled, and then you have these delicious flavor bombs to complement your meals. The fish cakes turned out so flaky, so crispy on the outside from that almond flour, from the olive oil. And they're so delicate on the inside. I taste the lemon and a lot of it. And then the herbs come in, I taste some saltiness, and ever so slightly there's a fish taste. I'm not gonna pretend and lie to you like it's not a fish taste. But it's not overpowering. It's not overly fishy. The chickpeas really help balance out all the flavors. So delicious. And like I said, if you're not a fan of sardines, it's totally fine. It was just an example. By all means, try it out with salmon, tuna, leftover cooked fish that you have, a yummy, delicious, crispy, flavorful way to eat more fish. That was kind of just my goal with this recipe. I have a lot of fish recipes on my website, so if this isn't calling to you, I'm the type that I'm like, oh, whenever I go out to eat, I want to order fish because I hate cooking fish at home. Let's start loving cooking fish at home and then clean well and burn a candle afterwards to get rid of the fish smell. This is so good. Let's move on to recipe number 3. Let's talk third and final recipe, super quick and easy, kind of Moroccan inspired. Carrot salad. I love carrots. Carrots are so good. They're in season. I got these from our CSA box. We signed up for one where they just once a week we get like a little assortment of the vegetables that one of our favorite farmers has. We got this cute little bag of carrots, and carrots taste better when they're in their natural form than baby carrots. Baby carrots are like really not a thing in the Mediterranean. And so I'm just kind of shaving the carrots because I think this is probably the easiest way to eat like a carrot salad. I always love a salad, and I want to show you how fun they can be. We're not using just greens in this salad because the carrots are so sweet, crunchy. I have something chewy and tart, which is these cranberries. Don't love cranberries because you have to get them already sweetened. I really prefer dried fruit that isn't sweet because it's much healthier for you, but cranberries are so insanely tart that honestly I don't think you could eat a dried cranberry without a little bit of sugar on it. It just complements the pomegranate molasses in the dressing so much. I'm also gonna throw in some pomegranates because it's the season of pomegranates, and the red and the orange, I just love it so much. I have some Dragon Blend microgreens, which just basically is just arugula in microgreen form. It's kind of spicy, aka dragon, and some sesame seeds. Let's talk about the delicious dressing I have here. It's a pomegranate molasses dressing. I know I share pomegranate molasses a lot, and if you can't find it, that's totally fine. Use balsamic. It's still really tangy, sweet, kind of something similar to pomegranate molasses, but you can find it online if you can't go to a local Middle Eastern, Mediterranean kind of ethnic market. I have tahini and pomegranate molasses, red wine vinegar, which I love, olive oil, so many spices that really complement everything here. Cumin, coriander, smoked paprika, a little bit of of cardamom for some really good kick, and to complement all those spices is a little bit of harissa paste. It adds a ton of flavor, and lots of water to thin it out because tahini can get very thick. So that water is what you want to be able to get this drizzle consistency. And so I'm just gonna drizzle it all over the carrot salad, and it's the most ugly color ever, but it's really good, I promise. And it is beautiful on any type of salad. It's a great thing to dip your vegetables in. If you have some just extra carrots or radishes or cucumbers hanging around and you want something to dip them in and add a little bit more flavor for a good snack, this over a bed of grains. This is where I would normally top this with like pistachios or almonds or something like that. But I had a big bag of bulgur I've been meaning to use up, and it's a really fun itty bitty grain, similar to like couscous. If you wanted to use couscous, you could. Quinoa, that'd be really nice. And I just prepped some bulgur and drenched it in a bunch of olive oil and salt, just keeping it super simple. Crisped it up at like 425 in the oven, and you have super crispy, almost like popped bulgur to throw on top. I'm just gonna give this a nice sprinkle. Oh, it looks so good. This is so fun to put on your salads, to put on any entrees you have. Just if you need something crispy and oily and salty, this is the perfect thing. Or if you're just trying to get rid of your grains and don't just want to eat a normal cooked grain, this is a really fun way to change up textures. So I think textures are crucial to a delicious meal. If you don't have a variety of textures in a salad specifically, it's so boring. One of the most important things I think of when building a salad is flavor and just variety and textures. Do I have something sweet? Do I have something salty? Do I have something creamy, something fatty, something smooth, something crunchy, something crispy, something nutty, you know, and this is also nutty because it was toasted, that toasted flavor. And so we're just elevating the salad so much with this incredibly flavorful dressing and then this really crispy, fun bulgur. Sometimes when it's a really big jar like this, I'll portion it off into smaller glass jars, so that way when I bring a glass jar out of the freezer of like salad dressing or sauce or something, I'm only defrosting like a little bit for that week or that recipe, not like a huge amount. You could do this with cucumbers, like you could shave cucumbers. You could do this with like really thinly sliced bell peppers. If you steam asparagus and do like thinly steamed asparagus. My goal in this recipe video was to change your mind of like, this is what a salad has to be. This is what meal prep has to be. Spanakopita, like that could never be considered healthy, and that fish is really gross and is gonna make your whole house smell like fishy, and why would you ever buy canned fish? Like I just wanted to like open your mind up to the Mediterranean diet and all the goodness that it is and the lifestyle that I love dearly. So I hope I helped give you some modern Mediterranean living inspiration today with these Mediterranean diet meal prep recipes. Great for the winter time or any time of year, honestly. But I do like to cook seasonally as possible. It's not always perfect, but we try. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please let me know in the comments what recipes you want to try, what ideas you got from this video, what ideas you'd love to see from me, whether it's an ingredient you want to use more of, a recipe you've been dying to try and would love to see, questions you have in the kitchen or the Mediterranean diet or for the Mediterranean lifestyle in general. It makes my day to get to talk to you, and I am so grateful for you for watching this video, liking this video, commenting on this video. Any and all things, your support means the absolute world to me, and I'm so excited for 2023. I know this is so cliche. This is the year. This is the year I finally get to be everything I've dreamed of, or start that journey, because it's a journey, it's not a final destination, right? Cheesy, cliche. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, I hope you create a very zestful day. Ciao.